things that I wanted to highlight that I've known for a little while, but I think is pretty interesting is there's a guy called Gary Bettman, and he's currently the NHL commissioner. The NHL is struggling to beat the women's basketball. It's kind of abysmal at this point how bad their ratings are. Part of it is because they're just make kind of like baseball, just kind of hacking it between different streaming services, making it almost impossible to watch. But the reason the name Gary Bettman is important is because he used to be the marketing director for the NBA during the early 80s. Back when they adopted like this formula where it's basically like, no, don't build on like the games that are being said. Don't build on like rivalries and, you know, making these rivalries happen. They were focusing on Michael Jordan because they saw how popular Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson was in that college game. It was one of the highest viewed college games of all time. So Gary Bettman helped implement that into the NBA, and the NBA almost lost their ass on it. The NBA now, I think, is one of the best run sports organizations on planet Earth. Their marketing is impeccable. Their sport is easy to play. They know it. They market it to everybody. They run a really, really good organization, at least from my viewpoint, because the way that we run the hockey organization is just terrible. And Gary Bettman's part of that reason. The reason that y'all don't know anything about hockey, and mostly anybody, is because they do no favors in keeping the game so hard to watch. When's the last time you've just been scrolling through any streaming or cable or anything and seen a hockey game pull up, NHL hockey? It's been since the 90s or the early 2000s, I would like wager to bargain.
Yeah, so it's even going to that point, right? For the Stanley Cup Finals, I had trouble finding some of them fucking games, and I was actively trying to watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know shit about hockey. I'm not going to pretend, but I'm always have been somebody who's like, I'm going to root for the Florida Panthers because that's the actual only team that we have in Broward County. That is my home team, so that is my team. So before 2 years ago, when they made the Stanley Cup Final, you know, they got swept or whatever, I was rooting for them. Like, I'm always going to root for them. But
of course,
I don't know how to find these games. Like, and what happened is that going back, I want to say the mid-2000s, ESPN decided to not renew their contract with the NHL.
Absolutely.
And that's, at that time, if your sport wasn't on ESPN, your sport had no chance as far as outreach, growth, popularity, because ESPN at the end of the day is still the worldwide leader in sports. And that was before they lost subscribers, before we had all of these different options and Netflixes and this and that and the third and all of these streaming. So they've been on the outside looking in for 20 years now. Now you're telling me it's even harder?
Exactly. And fans are tired up with it. I'd say that hockey's viewership is actually really, really large, but the point is that people are just, you know, not paying for it anymore to watch it is probably the polite way to put it. But the fact of the matter is, it's an incredibly exciting sport, and I feel like it could have a really, really good market value pretty much anywhere, but nobody wants to watch it because you can't just put it on your TV. Everything else is available, especially in a market like South Florida, and our viewpoint on it isn't exactly the same as someone that would be listening to this from New York or Maine. It's pushed just as hard as any of the other big four sports. But in a market like we're at, hockey does its fans no favors. So why would I, as a Florida hockey fan, pay for 4 different subscriptions to watch hockey? It's because we love the sport so much, and we're either going to pay that money if you got it and you're like that, or the alternative route.
You know the alternative route, man. Fuck y'all. I ain't gonna say. I ain't finna give up the dope. I ain't finna give up who the dope man is. You feel me? Because I ain't no snitch. But just know that me and the dope man, we locked in. Best believe it.
Hey man. Loose lips sink ships, man.
Best believe it.
Loose lips sink ships, man.
But look,
all right.
So let's stay there. Let's stay there because I think that's an interesting conversation to have. All of these sports companies, and this is the Netflix effect. Netflix was the greatest thing that ever happened for Netflix. but it was the worst thing to happen for us as consumers because it made all of these people, all of these quote unquote executives who just don't know shit about anything, don't know shit about human relationship, don't know about anything. All they do is they pay for all of the data that we unknowingly and unwillingly give up. You feel me? From all of these things that we say yes to or click on or all of that, right?
1,000%.
They pay for the data. They get the data. They look at these fucking. They pay an account or a data analyst to make 10 million fucking spreadsheets. They look at the spreadsheets and they say, "Hey, we need our own streamer. We can make just as much money as Netflix." No, the fuck you can't, man. And like you said, you have to be a fucking diehard to pay for 4 subscriptions just to follow your team. I was outside for all of the Stanley Cup games, bro. I was at the bars. I was everywhere.
Yeah.
This city, this area supports the Florida Panthers.
100%. Hockey crazy. And why wouldn't you be? Dude, this is and I want to segue real quick. The Florida
No, go ahead, bro.
Panthers,
Take it where you want to take it, bro.
The Florida Panthers have, they have the envy of hockey teams. They've got, in Matthew Tkachuk alone, they've got this veteran almost. He's still young, but he plays like he's 40 fucking years old. He's wise. He's mean. He's a fucking smartass. He gets under people's skin. He pulls people's fucking fingernails off, and he makes them make mistakes, dude. They're a gritty, dirty hockey team, and that's why they got close the year before, and that's why they won last year. That's the type of hockey that you want to see. I don't understand why hockey doesn't market itself this blood sport, which is what it is. These teams genuinely hate each other. It's not like football where in football, you've got people from Nebraska playing dudes from New York that have never met each other. In hockey, all these guys have known each other since high school age. They all hate each other. There's a reason for it. Some of them got to play together. Some of them love each other and they don't get to play together. And it's really evident. Hockey, there's a really small sample group because there's not that many people that are good at it. I don't know whether that's about marketing or geography. That's a different discussion, but it's crazy how much there's emotionally invested into that sport. And I feel like the NHL just doesn't market it on it enough. They let it slip through their fingers.
No, that's a great point to make because so the NBA is losing a lot of viewership year on year right now, right? And the reason, there's a lot of different reasons.
Sure.
The main reason is one of the things that you're talking about right now, which the conversation that we're having is all of these different places that you can watch basketball or you're going to be forced to watch basketball, whether it's Amazon, here, there, and there. That's one reason. Right. 2, you don't have to watch a basketball game to know what the fuck happened in the basketball game.
Exactly.
Right. I could watch unless it's the finals. I could watch the whole game when the game is done on all of these YouTube channels that cut it up into 10-minute bites. And I get all the highlights. I get the story. I get the narrative. I get everything I need. And I don't have to sit around. And then 2, to me, these are the biggest ones. One is for me, and I don't want to put my own personal biases on it, but I also think it's a big part. And then the second point, which is the main point, which is the complete 180 from the point that you just talked about. Point number 1, play style. I don't enjoy watching basketball anymore because, and I don't want to sound like an old guy on a fucking yawn, but too much motherfuckers taking threes, right? Y'all do it, cool, whatever. I get it. The math says take the threes. 2 threes is better than 2s. I understand it. I just don't want to watch it.
It's not fun to watch it.
What I enjoyed about basketball was seeing the Tim Duncan Spurs play the Boston, the KG Celtics. Everybody was different. Everybody had completely different styles of play. And based on your personnel, it's the type of basketball that you played. And that was enjoyable to me. Am I longing for a bygone era? Maybe. But I can't watch fucking Speedy Claxton throw up. Go ahead, Rod. Go ahead.
No, Herb, to your point, Herbie, there was a time, even in the early 2010s, basketball was once a sport where styles made fights, right? We had the grit and grind Grizzlies, the Warriors, and the 3-point thing was rather new. You had other teams that played slower pace, quicker pace. It wasn't so everybody now, the Warriors came onto the scene and everybody just said, oh yeah, why didn't we just take a whole shitload of threes before? Duh. That's how everybody just started playing. And it kind of took some of the flavor out of basketball, right? Because basketball used to be a sport that you had a lot of different flavors, and now all you got is playing in Buffalo. So, I totally 100% feel you on that point. Like, you're not the old man yelling at the clouds on that one, Herbie. Like, basketball definitely has changed in that aspect.
I don't disagree at all as someone that genuine like generally only watches basketball during the finals because it is so exciting. But I've noticed year after year that the finals are pretty much just a 3-point shootout.
Shooting contests, yeah.
And it's not exciting to watch, but watching the finals that happened in like years prior, even up to like the Miami Heat runs, you know what I mean? Back when we all used to run around, like watching that back then and being there in the community for it and watching like whatever's going on in the finals now is night and day as far as excitement goes.
No, and yeah, because the 3-point was supposed to be a weapon, not the point.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
100%.
then another reason why is seeing significant change, and this is to go back to the point that you're making, J-Mac, the league is viewed as being filled with a bunch of dudes that don't really care whether they win or not or whatnot. There's this persona or this perception, whether it's true or not, that these guys ain't playing hard, especially during the regular season.
Sure.
And that is not like NHL hockey at all.
Nah.
At all. Like, that's the complete fucking opposite, man. So, but listen, all of these leagues, in a sense, they're gonna make their money because live sports is the only thing that makes money anyway. So viewership in the long run doesn't really matter. But as fans, I'm just tired of having to get fucked over for trying to support something I love.
100%. And I would love to give, ideally, I think an ideal system would be I give money directly to the teams that I support and they let me watch whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah,
if I want to watch all 82 games, let me pay $82. Hell, let me pay $164. I don't care. But like, I want to watch these games. Let me pay somebody to watch them if that's the way y'all want to go. But if you want to make me buy this subscription, and that, I'm
might as well get cable.
Might as well get cable.
And I'm definitely not doing that. We're damn sure not doing that.
We ain't going back to cable, man.
Right.
We're going back to cable, man.